Hey everybody, this is Justin, that's Heather,
Hi.
and we're your hosts for PR2O Chat on Twitter on Tuesday nights at 8 o'clock Eastern. But this year we're going to try something new. We're also going to try what we're calling PR2O Chat TV, and we're just going to do a weekly video where we discuss social media trends, PR trends, things that are making news, and also things that we talked about in the chat on Tuesday night. And so this week we're going to jump right in and we're going to talk some about Etsy and crisis communications. So Heather, you want to tell us some more?
Yeah, so making it really timely, Etsy today just released their statement that announced that they decided to change their policies as a result of the recent crisis situation, which is, I think, a positive step in the right direction. I think they're probably catching a lot of flack because it took them so long to make that decision. The issues first started brewing at the end of December, I guess, and then now here we are in the middle of January, and we've got a solution. In the meantime, there was a lot of debate about whether or not they should be removing posts from their Facebook page, and that they weren't really responding to people on Twitter who were voicing their concerns. So there's probably a lot of lessons that businesses can learn out of how Etsy handled this situation and feedback they've received.
Right. So the way we're going to do this, and it'd be kind of fun, is I'm going to kind of talk to you about it from the external perspective, and I'll go ahead and do that now. And then I know you got a little bit of a different point of view you want to share. So just from the external perspective, I think that Etsy won a lot of points today, like you said. I think people are happy that they listened and that it was obvious they took into consideration what people were saying, and they changed their policy because of that. And so I think, like people eventually got to with Domino's when they did the same thing and made some changes based off people's conversation about that video in the past. I think that Etsy won points today. My only thing is that I wonder why it took them so long. Why they didn't say something beforehand, why they didn't tell the public they were addressing these issues, or at least they were talking about them. And instead, not only did they not do that, but they went to the extreme of removing people's comments from their Facebook page when, in my opinion, what people were doing was trying to provide constructive criticism about something that they felt was important and that they didn't understand, because to a lot of people, I know it looked like Etsy's policy actually said that products that glorify hatred, interpret that as you will, that those kind of products couldn't be sold on the site. So anyway, I think that's what a lot of what I heard from an external point of view, but you raised some really good points earlier about what it might have been like inside Etsy, which none of us know. So
Right.
if you want to share those.
There's always this desire, I guess, on PR people to kind of workshop these things as they happen and say, well, this is what I would have done differently, or this is what they should do differently. And I think we just need to be careful that none of us really know what's going on internally. We don't know what the legal process was, or what the seller agreement is with Etsy, and how this played into that. And maybe there was a reason it took so long. Maybe there wasn't a reason for it. I have no idea. But I think that from a business perspective, they can learn from this that taking almost a month to respond is probably not the best approach. I think that's a good lesson for everybody to learn. Respond quicker than that, especially in a crisis. Deleting Facebook posts is probably not the best idea. That seems to just add more fuel to the fire and make people even more angry. And it makes it look like you're trying to hide something, instead of facilitating a discussion about the problem and what you're doing to fix it. And in a crisis situation, if you are taking steps to fix it, and especially if it's a customer service problem or something along the lines of what Etsy faced, you want to make sure that you're communicating that along the way so that people know that they're being heard. I think just in reading comments and posts that have been written about it, people felt like Etsy wasn't really hearing their concerns, or they were choosing to ignore their concerns, which just made people more frustrated and made it spiral out of control from there, to the point where then it became a national news story on CNN.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point you raised. Internally, they might have just been going through the regular legal process, and it might just have taken a longer time, and they figured that they should do that before they said something. I mean, I think that's a fair point to make. What I wonder now is if they can make this, really turn this into a positive, and whether they've kind of taken the first step today, can they continue to maybe share, the case study, right? How the process worked and how they ended up listening to people. And maybe, I don't know if it's actually something they take out to a conference or something like that, but maybe they can continue to find creative ways to share, how they've changed their corporate culture based on this example. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, if it's a crisis situation, I don't know why you'd want to keep dwelling on it. So I don't know that they're going to keep harping back on it, because it was a fairly negative situation that they found themselves in. But I do think that it will be interesting to see how they live by their new policy, and if other situations like this arise, will they be quicker to invoke the policy and take down things that now don't align with the new verbiage in the policy.
Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe just by going by the policy going forward, they still earn those points. So.
Right.
Well, thanks everyone for joining us. That's our first episode of PR2O Chat TV, and we'll be back next week with a new topic. And if you have topics you'd like to discuss, just let us know in the comments. Thanks a lot.